how you can extend your J1 visa. This is the most important question that I got from you. So you decided to go in the United States as an intern or teacher, maybe as a researcher or something else. Then you want to stay here. Who doesn't, right? So there are a couple of ways that you can extend your J1 visa and stay back here in the United States for a while. Feel free to watch the video until the end. But first I have to make a serious disclaimer. So this content is just for informative purposes. Please consider an immigration lawyer's advice before you try any of this. Okay? What's up you guys, it's Preetham here. If you're new here to this channel, hi, I'm a professional cook based in the United States, currently working at a healthcare. Technically, I will share 4 things that you can apply for your J1 visa to extend. But before we jump into the video, I have said it 100 times, gonna say it again now. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe my channel for this YouTube algorithm. Number 1 is marriage-based green card. So what it does, a marriage green card allows a spouse of the United States citizen of a green card holder to live and work anywhere in the United States. A green card holder will have a permanent resident status until they decide if they wish to apply for US citizenship, for which they become eligible after 3 years of having a green card. Number 2 is J1 visa waiver. Some of the exchange visitors with a J1 visa are subject to 2-year home country physical presence requirement. That's a long word. So what it does, it requires you to return home for at least 2 years after your exchange visitor program. This is the requirement, is a part of United States law in the Immigration and Nationality Act, section number 212E. And if you cannot return home for 2 years, you must have to apply for a waiver to the Department of Homeland Security. They must approve your waiver before you can change your status in the United States or receive a visa in any certain categories. So if you are thinking that do you need to go back to your home country, you can easily check all the information on the website of USCIS. In the J1 category, some exchange visitors with a J1 visa are subjected to 2-year home country physical presence requirement. And this includes pretty much all the current and former exchange visitors. If you are subjected one or more of the following that applies to you, you might need to go back, like government funded exchange program. What are these? If you participated in a program funded by whole or in a part by a US government agency or your home country's government, or an international organization that received the funding for your internship from the US government or your home country's government, then you gotta go back to your country. Another thing will be special knowledge or skill. If you have participated in a program involving an area of study or field with a specialized knowledge designated as necessary for further development of your home country and it appears on the exchange visitor skill list on the USCIS website, for you have to go back to your country. Another one will be a graduate medical education training. Suppose you participated in a program to receive or to graduate a medical education or training, you might need to go back as well. Another one is changing your J1 status to F1 status. If you don't know what F1 is, it's a student visa and it's possible to go from J1 to F1 status without leaving the United States or remaining outside of it for 2 years. If you are a J1 visa holder admitted to an academic program, you are permitted to change your status to F1. If you intend to only pursue the study as a full-time academic student, and remember, it happened with a lot of my friends and I have seen them changing their status from J1 to F1. In order to make this switch, one of the most important issue will be whether you can provide a proof of liquid asset or fund which is sufficient to pay 1 full year of your tuition expenses, living expenses, insurance expenses for your dependents if you have any spouse, children or other people whom you support. Your academic institution will be able to provide you with all the estimated amounts that you need to understand or know to pay. And as an applicant for F1 visa, you will also have to provide the proof that you intend to return at home after successfully completion of your academic program. This requirement is common to all non-immigrant or temporary visas. And the process of changing the status application, once the academic institution which you are applied that accept you as an academic student for some particular year will issue you a form called I-20, which is a certificate of eligibility for non-immigrant student status. You can apply for F1 status either by traveling home and applying for the F1 visa at your local US consulate, or by submitting an I-539 application to extend or change your non-immigrant status to US Citizenship and Immigration Services, which is USCIS, to applying to them. Each procedure has its advantages and drawback, and I highly recommend to consult with an experienced immigration attorney if you have any question or concerns in your mind. Before we go to the last category, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe this channel for YouTube algorithm. Number 4 will be applying asylum. To establish the eligibility for asylum or refugee status under the US law, you must prove that you meet the definition of a refugee. In a brief, that means showing that you are either a victim of your past persecution or you have a well-founded fear of persecution. In the case of past persecution, you must prove that you were persecuted in your home country or last country of your resident. The persecution must have been based on at least one of the 5 grounds, which is, count with me, race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group. Proving this connection between the persecution and one of these 5 grounds is one of the most difficult parts of successfully applying for asylum or refugee status, especially because you must show that one of the 5 grounds was or will be a central reason for your persecution. And again, before you do any of these things I mentioned, I recommend that seeking an advice from a professional lawyer who can help you with those things. And feel free to check out my other videos. I believe you will find good information there. And if you have any questions, ask me on Twitter or Instagram. Link will be in the description. And feel free to follow me on Instagram. I post pretty much daily there. Until next time.